Excellent. Alrighty, we are live, and I'm checking to make sure that we are in fact streaming, and it looks like we are. Yay! Okay. Hello. And I have to turn that volume off, which I thought I did. Yay, indeed. Alleluia, alleluia. So hi.
Or you are. Hello.
Hello. AT just wrote an entire novel on the chat window. I'll have to read that in a minute. Apologies for stutteriness in the live stream. This is at least in part due to the fact that my real computer is in the shop, and I'm cobbling together the rest of my life on slower computers. So that's part of the problem. The other part of the problem is my husband's working from home today, so he's online, and I can't get him to take his lunch break at 1:30. So,
but he has a job. This is
exactly. We have no complaints. There is a job situation. That is a good situation, since CraftLit doesn't pay for the groceries. Oh well. However, Erica has something very beautiful to share with us, and that would be Erica sharing Erica and her hair. And this was yesterday?
Yeah, last night. Of course, I can't get it to do what the person got it to do, right? Because I'm coming at it from a different angle. But I actually am surprised she didn't take off more, because I gave her free rein. I told her to surprise me. She's been cutting my hair for many years, so she knows my hair. She knows me. I had her turn me away from the mirror so I couldn't see it until it was done. And I told her, short of a pixie cut, anything was okay.
I think that was a good parameter.
I done the pixie cut when I was 5. Don't need it again. Thank you.
You're done. How much did she take off? Did she take off from the bottom, or did she like do the lightening up of the layerishness around?
It's a little shorter in the back, not drastically so, but it's a little shorter in the back than it is in the front. So it's kind of the angled forward. And she definitely took this part shorter. And it's a little more uniform. It's not as overly layered as it was last time.
That's good.
So I can see the difference. I don't really expect other people to be able to see the difference, but I can. But honestly,
I like it.
I'm gonna have her go shorter on the bangs, because they just don't stay out of my face.
No, I know. I see those people in movies and stuff who have their bangs like touching their eyelashes, and I would
drive me nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, it would drive me crazy.
I can't do it.
Yes.
Mine have been growing at a ridiculous rate lately. I feel like I'm cutting my bangs every 2 weeks, every week and a half. And
you've got Zooey Deschanel bangs, yeah.
I do right now, but that's because they're getting close to my eyelashes and I'm wanting to cut them again. But I cut them last week. I don't know. I know nothing.
Wow.
Clearly. Whatever. So yesterday was the second weekly constitutional. This time the audio didn't fail, because that was the beginning of my computer woes last week. That was the beginning of the snowball going down the hill. But in case anybody is listening to this and interested in that, AT was there yesterday, and my father-in-law was closing down one of his photography shows, so he was down at the museum in San Diego working on that, and my 10-year-old decided that if his grandfather wasn't going to be there, or my almost 13-year-old, that he didn't want to be there either. So I did by myself Benjamin Franklin's final speech to the Constitutional Convention. It is one of the most brilliant pieces of writing, plus funny. And yes, my bangs would get caught in my glasses, and they do, AT, all the time. But it's this amazing speech because it starts off, easing everybody in and kind of getting jokey. And then it gets really, really deep and thoughtful, not surprisingly, about the perfect being the enemy of the good. not letting, well, I can't fix poverty, so why should I work at a soup kitchen voluntarily every once in a while? And
Right.
and so it's just beautifully done, because he doesn't get all fancy schmancy about it, because that's not his way. He doesn't go into Lockean and Rousseauian terms of the social contract or anything like that. He just lays it out, and it's beautiful. So I put the text actually up on the screen so people can see it, as well as listen to me
Cool.
blather about it. But it's one of the things that I'm going to make my kids watch. Not because I'm so excited about myself, but because they can see the text. And it's a brilliantly constructed piece of writing. So that was yesterday. That was episode 2 of the Weekly Constitutional.
I should tell Andrew about that. He would be I think he would be interested in that, and that, that's certainly something he could watch with headphones on, lying in bed that might be better than some of the other options out there.
That is so true. And the other thing is, there's no reason, and I should probably put this up, there's no reason not to use the CraftLit call-in line. If he has questions or comments and he's not watching in real time, there's no reason not to call in, because my father-in-law can answer questions the following week, because he's the one who understands precedent and knows it. And so there are lots of things that we do that are sort of in the Constitution, but that's not exactly how we're doing things. And I don't understand why, but he does, because he knows, well, in 1853 there was the Supreme Court case, and this is how it changed everything. Oh, I guess it's important to know stuff.
Thing I could keep in my head.
Yeah, I would not have been a good lawyer. I had a friend describe me. We were trying to problem solve. What were we talking about? Oh, her son. When you're with your older kid, it's like a grand experiment. You don't actually know what you're doing. And you wouldn't know normal. You wouldn't know normal if it walked up and shook your hand.
On the first one, yeah.
Yeah, that's your experimental child. And her older one is having a rough patch right now. And so it was interesting, because I was sifting through not only all of my memories about what we had done, because our kids are a little bit older than theirs, but also sifting through all of the advice that I'd gotten from CraftLit listeners over the years. When I would hit hard patches with my boys, and people had written in and said, okay, my son did exactly the same thing. Here's what to look at, which saved my sanity, and probably honestly saved my kid. But she said she was watching me, and she finally got a visual metaphor for what it must be like in my head. And she said, it's like you have one of those used bookstores that just goes on and on, like the Strand in New York City, where it just goes on and on like a maze for days and days and days. And she said, and you're just racing through it like a little kid in a candy shop, except you're picking this idea and that idea and this idea, and you're pulling these things all together from all of these different places. And then when you wheel it out on the cart, it looks like a complete text. It looks like one book. And I thought, okay, that's about as accurate a description as I have ever gotten of what happens. It's why I get things in my head like flying buttresses and gingerbread houses.
Gingerbread houses with flying buttresses could be cool.
Wouldn't it be? I think so.
I certainly wouldn't want to try to attempt it, but
no. But if you made a two-story gingerbread house, you would need to have flying buttresses.
True.
And on the cooking note, do you have food or do you have yarny things?
I have a tiny bit of yarny, and I don't have pictures of food, but I have chronicles of food.
Oh, good. That's good.
Definitely continuing with the Instant Pot.
Yes.
I tried the whole cook a whole chicken in a short amount of time.
Oh, how'd that go? You were talking about that yesterday.
It went perfectly.
Yes.
I was so happy. And yeah, with the time for it to get up to pressure and then the pressure release, it's not a lot faster, but it's very autopilot.
Yes.
You don't have to keep checking on it. It's gonna turn off by itself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't forget to take it out of the oven, kind of thing. And I followed the instructions. I think it was for 30 minutes, it said.
I think that's
and
right.
It came out perfectly. So I actually did that 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
And I saved the liquid from cooking both times, and then added a little bit to that and threw in and stripped the carcasses and put the carcasses in and made stock. And that was terrific to make that so quickly instead of hours on the stove. And then turned that right around and made that into chicken soup.
Yep.
And apparently it was good. So,
yay!
Because I was kind of winging it on the soup. And I just used I had the liquid, and then I added back in the torn up chicken from the carcasses, and a couple of ribs of celery cut up, a bunch of baby carrots cut up, and a can of corn, drained, not with the liquid, but a can of corn. And I think I added some pepper because there hadn't been much pepper in the stock. But the stock had garlic and paprika and rosemary, and there was lemon juice in there, onion powder because I had run out of onions. I might be forgetting something. A little bit of thyme. Right. And definitely there was a lot of paprika. It came out pretty orange. But I hear it tasted good. So I felt quite successful with that. Definitely need to work on doing more vegetables. Like I did some carrots with the first chicken, but they were baby carrots, not full-size carrots, and they got overdone. They were all mushy. And some people like that. I don't. So got to make sure that next time I use full-size carrots, and don't cut them down really small. Barbara says she made barbacoa. That would be good.
Shredded beef in a pressure cooker. I can't think of any better way to make it because then it just falls apart. I love it.
Well, and I hear it's really good for pulled pork too.
Sure. The whole reason I started on pressure cookers in the first place was we got one as a wedding present from my best friend in California. Her mom, every year on New Year's Eve. It's either New Year's Eve dinner or New Year's Day dinner. I can't remember now. Her mom does ribs in the pressure cooker, and then she does like 2 or 3 different things. But the ribs go in the pressure cooker, and then while she's doing whatever she's doing to those, she puts potatoes in the pressure cooker. And I have the coolest potato thing, which is you know how sometimes you go to a diner and you get those really awesome potatoes where it's chunks. It's like maybe anywhere from 1/4 to a 1/2 inch cut, just diced up, but not finely diced, good and chunky. And then like you'd find in an Irish stew. And there's a crispy outer layer to it, but it is clearly not deep fried. And I have looked at these things for almost half a century, wondering how in the world they were able to get that crispiness on the outside. And I found it online. This is why I love the interweb. If you take, and Barbara, this especially works well on a stovetop pressure cooker that you can pick up. The Instant Pot you could do, but you'd want to unplug it first. You boil your potatoes until they're fork tender, maybe even, no, fork tender. Drain out all the water, and then put the pressure cooker lid back on. This is for the stovetop lid. Put the pressure cooker lid back on, pick it up, and shake it like it's an animal trying to kill a smaller animal. You just want to shake the bejesus out of that thing. And when you open it back up again, you'll see that all of the surface area of all of the chunks of potato have kind of fuzzed up. There are all these little, it's like it's fuzzed up. The potatoes aren't clear cut anymore. They've just disintegrated a little bit around the edges. And you take that and you dump it onto a cookie sheet. And I have one of those Silpat silicone cookie sheet covers. Dump it onto there, kind of flatten it out, and you kind of swooge it around because you've got a lot of that fuzzy stuff now. And you just kind of try and distribute it as much as you can. Stick it in the oven at like 450, something like that. And just keep your eye on it. And as long as you put, I skipped a step. I put a little bit of butter in. Some people put a little bit of olive oil before they do the shaking. It will have coated. And some people put in oil or butter and salt and pepper before they shake. Some people do it after, when it's on the sheet. It's up to you. You cook it until it's brown, and they come out brown and crispy, and you didn't deep fry anything.
Nice.
It was so amazing. And, it's all to the glory of the crock pot, or the pressure cooker.
That sounds yummy. I'll have to try that.
It's really, really good. I'll see if I can find the link to the recipe and put it underneath. But it's very good.
That sounds very good. It sounds very good. That's been my recent adventure. Well, what else did I try? Oh, I tried doing frozen chicken breasts in there. And they didn't get done. So
did you do it for longer?
I'll have to try. Well, the thing is, I did it with vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
Do it too long, and then the vegetables get icky.
Yeah.
So it was that's right. It was with vegetables and rice. And I ended up scorching the rice, trying to get the chicken right. So next time I do frozen chicken breasts, I'll do just the chicken breasts by themselves,
right,
and see how that goes, because that would be fabulous. Because I'm not always on top of remembering to take something out of the freezer. There's plenty of protein in the freezer. I just don't always remember to take it out.
Yeah.
In time to thaw. So
I feel your pain.
Yeah. So that's it on the foodie front.
I have one more recipe to share with everybody because it's that time of year. When I was up in Oregon for the very first Sock Summit, we took the train down into downtown, and then we walked over to this amazing Irish pub. And Meg Warren, who is a Defarge designer and who I've known since the Sea Sox cruise, so it was just tons of fun to get to see her. She found a shepherd's pie at this pub, and I'd never had shepherd's pie that didn't have sheep in it, or shepherds. This was a ground beef one, and
shepherds.
My dad always says, "Oh, they're made of shepherds." This was a ground beef recipe. So it was.
Sorry, I still have to go for me, family.
Okay. I have very strange images in my head right now. So the shepherd's pie is ground beef because American palates are not so much on the lamb most of the time, but I'm actually putting the link to it in the chat window because some awesome person put up the recipe. So I can tell you quite honestly, if you make this exactly as written, at least the first time, you will taste what it was like to have the most amazing shepherd's pie at a pub. You probably need to get your own beverage to go with it to complete the whole sense. But it is incredible. And Dubliner cheese, if you can get a hold of a little brick of Dubliner cheese, it's a very, very sharp Irish white cheddar. That's what we've been using in the topping, the very special and so awesome Ulster Champ topping. I have never piped the potatoes out on top like somebody on the Food Channel would do.
Uh, uh,
It hasn't made it taste any worse. It's so good. And the first time you make it, it's going to take a little while because there's a lot of fiddly bits and ingredients and things that you kind of go at the last minute, oh, shoot, I've got to make the mashed potatoes or whatever. But the next time you make it, it goes so much faster. And it's so good.
That.
If you want to eat a shepherd, I highly recommend eating the shepherd this way.
That sounds great. And on the rare occasion that there is such a thing as leftover mashed potatoes,
I know, right?
It would be good for that.
Yes, very.
Yeah, that's a rare occasion.
Yeah, our potatoes tend to
be a little different with mine because my mashed potatoes are cheesy garlic mashed potatoes.
See, that would be perfect.
Yes, definitely time to take a Lactaid pill before eating them.
Well, have you done any other crafty things other than your cookery this week?
Well, I made a start on the socks with that Madeline Tosh. I haven't gotten very far.
More far than me.
And my Erin Lane bag came.
Ooh, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Oh.
And it's a size, it's 12 by 12. So it's kind of an in-between size. It's not a sock bag, but it's not a, put a whole sweater in there bag.
Still looks good.
So I'm very excited to have it. So that's about, oh no, I take that back. I did one other crafty thing.
Yeah.
I ended up missing my knitting group Christmas party, but I sent on, in my stead, I made a dozen of these for the party. See if I can hold it so you can see. Can you see? It says emergency rations.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so funny.
And then inside is a little mini skein of leftover sock yarn.
That is so cute. How did they get that in there?
Oh, the top comes off.
Still, that mini skein is not. It's not nothing. That's some real estate.
Oh, it's yarn. It's squishable. And you could even do that. You could do that for a spinner with a little bit of fiber in there.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Tanya gave me one for Christmas last year that was coffee beans and a little sprig that looked like a sprig of holly or something.
Right.
It was emergency coffee. You could do whatever. You could definitely make it appropriate for all different kinds of things. I mean, you couldn't put meat in there, but you could put a lot of different things in there.
But no meat?
I wouldn't put meat in there. And knowing myself, I bought plastic bulbs, not glass.
Wise.
Because, that's just better.
That's our way. Indeed. What a good idea. Well, we were talking yesterday on the phone when we communicated, and I was wandering around the store so frustrated with shopping. And we started talking about things you could do for kids that weren't weren't so much buying them a thing as much as an experience, or at least something that was interactive. And I've talked about this before. I found one, and Erica, I know you found, you had some other ideas that were experiential. I found the website, so I thought I would show everybody
I made a list.
How this sucker looks. Oh, good. Well, then you get to go in just a sec, because I'm pulling. While I've got it here, I'm going to pull this up. So this is kiva.org, and I know some of you already know about it. This is a website where you can put any amount of money that you want into your quote-unquote bank, and then you take that money and you choose who you want to invest in. And so let me show you what the investment side of things looks like. So here is my account. I have $25 in outstanding loans right now. That means that my $25, I decided who I wanted to invest in, and I did this yesterday, so they haven't started paying it back. But you can see the two people who I invested in before, they repaid. And sometimes there's a currency loss, which isn't their fault. That's because the translation rate going between one country and another.
Huh.
Yeah, it went wonky. But when it says there was a currency loss, it was, you can see $250 over time is what I lost on that one. I didn't find that to be a particularly big problem. The one woman on the far right, it says Mary Jane Transportation Philippines. What she was doing was starting her own kind of like a rickshaw service, except it's not. It was a bicycle cab company, but in order to have enough cabs to make it financially viable for the women that she was building the company for, she needed to have money up front to be able to buy the bicycles. And so that was what the money went towards. And, you know, for some people in some countries, the amount of money that they're asking us for sounds like very little, but to them, it's enormous. So yeah. It doesn't take a whole lot, depending on where you're investing, to decide, or it doesn't take very much to make a huge impact in somebody's life. And so this is kind of the crowdfunding microloan idea, and it's genius. So right now I'm working on a guy in Nigeria. I invested in him. He's working on financially solidifying the primary and secondary school where his kids go, and a lot of his neighborhood kids go, because they're, not surprisingly, they're missing a lot of supplies. And right now, their schools function as private schools. So if you can't pay to get into the school, you can't go. And so the other thing he's trying to do is not just get the supplies, but get kind of an endowment going so that they can offset the amount that kids would have to pay to go learn how to read. And I thought that was pretty cool. So I've decided I'm going to give the kids, they're each going to get their own account, and with their account, they're going to show up, and there will be $25 there for them to decide how they want to disperse it. And you can do, you know, pieces to more than one place, but then they'll be able to tune in and see how their person's doing. I wanted there to be that interactivity thing going. So
that's cool.
I was really happy. A friend of mine from New York showed me that a couple of years ago, and I've been very, very pleased since then. But do tell. Oh wait, there was another thing I had to share. It's your picture.
My picture?
Your picture from the haircut.
Oh, yeah, what my hair's supposed to look like?
I don't actually think it looks all that different. We'll let the people vote. I think that's lovely. And yeah, honestly, I kind of like what you did with it today. You look very flowy today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you go.
Okay, so I made a list of making memories instead of buying stuff.
Excellent.
So some of these ideas do cost money, but
that's okay.
With the idea of you're investing in experiences, you're investing in making memories instead of cluttering up your house with junk. So one is, and these in no particular order, just the way that they came up, was tickets to a movie that they want to go to see.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to a theater a little farther away than normal, you get extra time with them.
Nice.
Plan a family zoo day. If you're
Nice.
into zoos, I know some people don't do zoos. Museum tickets. If the parents have been busy lately, you could do a coupon for each kid to have a day or afternoon of one-on-one time with the parent who's been working a lot and not around as much.
Right.
Doing something that the kid likes to do. That's important. Something the kid likes to do. If you live easily drivable from snow, you could plan a family snow day. You could do a coupon for a movie marathon day where the kid picks the movies and the day's menu, and everybody stays in pajamas or sweats all day. You could set, if you have multiple kids, you could set each kid loose in the dollar store with $5 or $10 to put together a gift for their sibling. Or you could do it for a neighbor. Like you guys could all, if you guys have a neighbor you guys want to do something nice for, each kid could get a certain amount of money and they could chip in together to build this nice gift for somebody. One thing that's the kind of thing that my Abby would love is a coupon for a whole day spent painting and rearranging the kids' room. The kids redo their room. You could give an empty recipe binder and spend an afternoon together finding and printing recipes to put inside.
What a great idea.
You could have a device-free puzzle day or a device-free game day, both of which are good if there's a rainy or snowy day, right? You could do a coupon for the family to go for breakfast or brunch to someplace local, whether it's just Starbucks or IHOP or some schmancy place, but everybody all goes in pajamas together to go out.
That's fun.
I've done that with my daughters and one of their friends one time. It was fun. And then they got too old for it to be cool, and now they're old enough that it might be cool again. If you have a kid who's really social, a coupon to host a movie marathon day for their friends, including snacks and blanket forts and whatever craziness comes with having those friends over. We did that one day, and there was much hilarity ensuing. A coupon for an afternoon with a parent spent doing X thing that the kid is always bugging the parent to do, but the parent always resists because the parent doesn't enjoy whatever that thing is.
Right.
Like, can finally get to go do this thing with mom or dad that mom or dad just doesn't want to do. If your kid's a crafter, a coupon for an afternoon spent working together on their chosen craft, or registration for a class or workshop you could take together to skills in that craft. Or if your social kid has been wanting to plan some kind of outing with their friends, offering to be parent taxi to make it happen. Especially if it's inconvenient for you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Older kids, that means something. They, you drop your plans for a day to ferry them around to do this stuff that's totally not your thing.
Right.
If your kid is older, and especially if their love language is acts of service.
Right.
And I could talk a minute about love languages. You pay a bill for them, or pay for something you would normally expect them, like something, if you normally make them pay for their own ticket when you guys go out for the movies, you pay for their ticket one time. Or
right.
Or if they are paying you back for something, excusing a debt, or letting them skip a payment. My father-in-law did that for Andrew. His first birthday while we were married, Andrew had been paying diligently month by month, paying him back for the money to buy his motorcycle. And on his birthday, the year we got married, he only had a couple of payments left, and his dad excused the rest of the debt for his birthday. He said, don't worry about paying me back the rest of the debt.
Nice.
And
that's nice.
It also came with instructions for us to go buy a TV. Or you could do a coupon for a day trip someplace they've been wanting to go. Again, it's the time to spend the day doing fun stuff. Or if money's not the issue, you just want to do something that's not buying stuff, if you can afford it, a coupon for an overnight getaway, one-on-one with the parent.
Right.
Definitely that could be fun, making memories. Go stay overnight in a hotel and, do whatever would be fun for you guys, whether it's, staying up late watching stupid movies in the hotel room and then getting room service breakfast. I mean, whatever would be fun for you guys. And that could be really a special thing. And obviously there's bigger things that take more planning, like, okay, this year instead of buying presents for the family, we're going to take a trip. Or if we're, but those things take more planning than the 12 days we have left before Christmas. So those were just ideas that I came up with. Some of which I've done, some of which I've not. I just thought of another one. If the kid is crafty and their friends are crafty, you could host a craft afternoon for their friends.
That's true. That's a good idea.
We did that one time for Abby's birthday. She wanted a craft party, and so we knew some single girls from church who were very crafty. And so we had them come over and help. And they did a craft day. And then instead of cake, we had cupcakes, and they all decorated their own cupcakes.
Oh, that's fun.
So if
I'm writing all these down, by the way, all the ones that are going to work for the boys.
If you ever see me on somebody's birthday posting on their Facebook page a picture of a cupcake that's like crazy overly decorated, that's from Abby's birthday party the year that we did that. I've always used that on birthday cards. Be quiet, dog, you're fine.
Honey wants to be on camera.
The dog, well, Honey's not in my good graces after eating my favorite sweater this morning. And I can't replace it because it's been discontinued.
Oh.
But it's just stuff, right? It's just stuff.
It's true. Toshi put a really interesting idea up in the chat window. Her mom, and I've been grilling her questions about it. Her mom is putting together disaster preparedness kits. And I'm on that one because we have a lot of people who are living in areas where there are weather-related emergencies all the time. And we have had, for a long time, we've had the run for your life kits, like you have to get out or you're supposed to evacuate. But it's true. There are, especially if you're in an earthquake, you wind up with you have to stay put without necessarily having any running water. So her mom is doing the stay put kits. And I think I'm going to be doing
We received something like that one year, and it was one of those presents that at first you go, huh.
Uh-huh.
Later you realize, you know what, that was really an awesome gift.
Yeah.
Or one time, and again, this is not something you would do for your kids, but
Right.
For an adult, if you want to get if you can afford to get something that costs, but you don't want to get stuff for them, we got a portable generator, but that it also did pumped air, so you could use it to inflate a tire, or
Right.
you could keep it in your trunk of your car and use it to jump your car battery.
And
If you needed
was it
to.
all battery? Was it rechargeable? Like you can plug it into the wall so it keeps a
It was
charge?
rechargeable. It was rechargeable, and that thing lasted us over 10 years. It's
Wow.
on its last legs now. We need to get another one, but that thing has been so handy.
Do you remember where you got it from, or what the brand name was?
My brother-in-law. It was a gift from my brother-in-law. Honestly, I think he probably got it at Costco.
Right.
This is when before he got married, and so they were single guy kind of gifts. But it was an awesome gift.
Yeah.
We just
I was looking.
the heck out of it.
I was looking to see if I had it nearby, and I don't. I have it. It's actually behind the curtain. Behind curtain number 1. Years ago, several years ago, I had made some comment on the podcast about not being able to find what I'd had before, which was the solar powered and hand cranked emergency radio. So it had shortwave and regular radio, and someone sent me one.
And those are cool.
I wish I could find it because, well, for one thing, because I should know where it is. But for the second thing, I have the name of the listener who sent it on the bottom of it.
Oh, that's cool.
I have lots of little things scattered all around this place that came from listeners over the years, and it's really, really, really nice.
Because CraftLit listeners are just better.
Totally, totally better. Oh my God. So much better. It's true. It's really, really true. It's proven to me over and over again. Just looking at the comments in the chat window proves it over and over again. A little Stanley one. Vicky said she just bought a little Stanley one on Amazon. Not very expensive. Are you talking about the generator thing or the little turn crank radio? Ha, ha, ha. I wait for the typage. It'll take a little bit.
Another gift that we got one year that was really meant a lot at the time was a year when I was out of work at Christmas time, and my father-in-law and his wife, this is Andrew's dad, back when Andrew's dad was still alive. They gave us a Trader Joe's gift basket that was actually a nice picnic basket with a bunch of Trader Joe's stuff in it, and a $50 Trader Joe's gift card, which was just so handy when I was out of work. And this is when it was just the two of us. This is before we had kids. It was great. And she said Vicky said that the thing was the car battery, jump starter, and air compressor to inflate tires. Yeah, that's the same kind of thing as what we had. I don't know what brand ours was. I just know it was bright green. I'm such a girl.
I love it.
The generator thing.
There's a bunch of them. There's one that's on Amazon Prime. We'll see. This is great. See, everybody has such great ideas. This is why I love the chat window. I look more forward to this than I do to recording the regular audio for the podcast now, because I get to see everybody. I know. It's very, very nice.
I think somebody wants to be on camera.
Oh, there's the honey. Oh. There's the honey.
Honey biscuit. This is Honey Biscuit.
I think we need to have a segment, the Honey Biscuit segment, every week.
She's a good girl, even though she ate my favorite cotton and silk sweater from J. Jill.
I know. Erica was telling me about this before we started, that Honey got a hold of her sweater, dragged it out of the drawer.
She did the most hilarious thing the other day. Oh my goodness, I just remembered. I was sitting here at the desk doing something, and Sarah was lying on the couch watching the live action Jungle Book movie from a couple of years ago.
Oh, I never saw that.
Oh, all right, last year, whatever. She corrected me. From last year. And Honey was on the couch with her. And there was a scene with, all these different jungle animals. And Honey looked. And she leaned forward. And she was staring at the TV, watching the jungle animals. It was hilarious. She was very clearly actually watching it. It was the funniest thing. I've never seen a dog actually watch TV.
That is funny. I've seen them watch specific kinds of TV. Like the way some like cats will watch the aquarium. Like if you have the aquarium thing on, there used to be a screensaver for Max that did that, where it was an aquarium.
Right, I remember that. Oh, that was the other thing I meant to put on my list was. This is obviously only good in areas if you have one, but an aquarium day. A day trip to spend.
That's right.
We did that for Sarah's birthday one year. We actually made it an overnighter. We went, she got to choose a friend to come, and we went to the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Aww. And that was just wonderful.
That's very cool.
Oh, Barbara says cats love bird videos too.
Yes, the bird videos. Yes, that's very funny. I'm looking up Vicky's, because I can paste links, but people in the chat can't. So I'm going to try and find the thing that Vicky had mentioned. And aside from that, I did my craftiness this week. All of my crafty brain was taken up writing lesson plans about heroes in Idols of the King and Mort d'Arthur, and trying to figure out what was wrong with my computer. Which, by the way, for anybody who has a Mac, if you have a end of year 2013 iMac, if it starts to behave even remotely wonkily, you need to know that the hard drive, it's a Fusion drive. The solid state drive, it's a thing. Some of them, not very many, but some of them have started to go. And what happened was my drive started to go, and then it pulled the other drive with it. So the Fusion drive was going and getting itself into these weird loops. And then as that fell, it's like the battle in Lord of the Rings. As that fell, it took the graphics card with it. So I was left with a Mac that was running, but I had to operate it as though I were blind. So I was using all the audio commands and key commands. So to click on a button.
I had the patience to attempt that.
Well, I had to shut it off, because if you shut it off wrong, then you cause all sorts of other problems. So I was just trying to get to the Apple menu so I could shut the stupid thing off. And it'll tell you what button it's on. It'll say cancel. And you hit tab and it'll say restart. And so to click, you had to hold down Control, Option, and the space bar. And you'd hear it go click, click. And then you'd hear the chime and everything would be normal. And I was trying to get it to reboot like normal. But the screen wasn't black. It was gray. It was clearly running. And if I was blind, I probably wouldn't have needed to take it into the shop at all until the hard drive completely went. But I paid for Apple Care.
On it, you can see.
I know. I can see. I had never paid for Apple Care in the past. I had never done it. I'd always kind of scorned it because I've been on these stupid computers for so long. I can usually fix it myself. Boy, am I glad I paid for it this time, because it's still covered, and this will cost me nothing except the time it takes to drive there and back. And the Genius Bar guy this time was an actual genius. It was such a relief. The last couple times I've gone in there, they have not lived up to their name, and I was not a happy camper.
That's not good when you know more than the guy on the other end,
Mm-hmm.
the one who's supposed to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now
I once upon a time I worked in tech, and I remember having to call for my home computer. It's like, okay, I already checked. It's plugged in. Don't tell me to check that. I already checked that it's turned on. Don't tell me, is it on? I already did this. I already did this. I already did. And then they don't listen. And they tell you they still tell you to do those things. You're like, really? Not just listen to me. I know you have your script, but still.
Yep. That's what had been happening to me too. I've gotten to the point when I call Apple tech support where I just say, I need to speak to a senior tech support specialist, because it's exhausting explaining the same problem over and over and over. It's like with Comcast, when we first moved in here, Comcast, and that's the only thing we could do. There's nothing else where we live out in the semi-boonies. And every time they transferred you to another person, you had to repeat your information, which means your name, the last four of your social, your complete address, your phone number, and your logon. And by the time I got to the fourth person, I was ready to go down to the office, find them, and throw them out the window. I was so done. And I said, look, is it on your screen? Am I just confirming? And they said, yes. And I said, then I'm going to do it really fast because I'm sick of this. And she started to giggle and she said, go for it. And then it became, fun, because then it's a competition. How fast can I say it? Can I sound like the FedEx guy who used to do those commercials? It's the little things that keep us sane. Sometimes they're very little, very, very, very little. Maybe I should buy a lottery ticket. I should have done it yesterday when I got the Tech Bar Genius. That's true. Barbara said earlier in the chat window, Barbara scored big, and I told her she needed to go get a lottery ticket today because she's clearly lucky. And yeah, that would have been a good idea. Oh, there. So Vicky's says it's the Stanley J7CS 350 amp battery jump starter with compressor. That one I had not seen. Thank you so much for typing that in, Vicky. I know what a pain in the tuchus that is to do, but I will now get a link for everybody. Yay. Oh gosh, this is really good. I think I know what I'm getting somebody for Christmas. All right, now everybody can have the link.
I have to tell you offline, just on the bizarre, weird chance that Andrew should see this, or that somebody who sees this says something on Facebook. I will tell you offline about Andrew's Christmas present.
Ooh, excellent. Well, you know what? If you do it in the chat window, because I leave the chat window open and functional for a while. So if you type it into the chat window, it'll be there, and then it goes away forever.
I can't be close enough to the computer to do that right now.
No, it's true. And it's 226. So
yeah, and the iPad is down to like 9% power. Sorry.
So we're going on the road to my sister's, so I get to see my little baby boy who slept with me for a week. So we're going to do that for Christmas, and then we'll be back for New Year's and stuff. So this is our last Crafty chat for 2016. I can't believe that. And
yeah, gosh, if I thought of it, we should have had some sort of a contest for the
I know. Well, maybe we can start 2017 with a bang. We can come up with some ideas. But I will send out a CraftLit newsletter with our dates for 2017. So everybody will know when there's going to be a Crafty chat and an episode. And there was one other thing about that. If you aren't signed up for the newsletter, there's a link in the comment section underneath, or the more section underneath the video, that'll take you to where you can sign up. I don't send out very many newsletters. I don't have much time.
No, you
But
don't.
there was something else about, oh, the 12 days of CraftLit. So today is our
Oh,
first day, and that's coming out on the app. I'm not redoing it on the website itself, but I will post a post on craftlit.com that shows all of the links to the previous 12 days of Christmas that we did last year. I haven't changed any of the audio. It's just, it's kind of easier, I think, if it pops up on the app, if you use the app. And if you don't, it doesn't matter. But they're also going to be popping up here on the YouTube channel as well. And that's all my news.
Oh, Toshi wants to know if we can try to do a hangout sometime.
Absolutely. And I'm on the slowest computer doing the typing, and I've got my faster laptop doing the actual live stream. So I'm a little schizophrenic right now. We have to figure out the time zone change, Toshi, because that is tricky. Because right now, you're pretty much about ready to head out to work, I think. Isn't that right? I think that's what happened the last time. Yes, we all need the holidays, I think. It will be nice. It'll be nice if I don't have to work on them. And yes, Erica?
Speaking of holidays and rest, someone asked earlier, and it didn't fit with the conversation, so I didn't answer at the time. Andrew is doing well. People who are connected with me on Facebook saw this, but we ended up at urgent care Sunday morning. Andrew apparently had been not feeling well for a week or two. He'd just been not feeling quite right. And Sunday morning, he took his blood pressure with our home thing, and it was 166 over 123. And his just lying down, just woke up, haven't been doing anything for a couple days because I thought I was getting a cold, pulse was 71. And when he plugged his blood pressure numbers in on the internet, it said seek attention immediately.
Yuck.
So we went to urgent care and spent the morning there and had to change our plans. Didn't end up helping with the little kids at church later and stuff. But his EKG came out fine. So there doesn't seem to be anything structurally wrong with his heart. But he has had a history of blood pressure being higher than it should be. And he's been unsuccessful at being consistent about dealing with it with lifestyle changes. So they put him on a real low dose of a blood pressure medicine, and he's got a doctor's appointment in 2 days. So he's following up with all that. So, but he's doing fine. He's at work, joking with his coworkers that he has to stop drinking, and in solidarity with him, they need to stop too. So yeah, I don't think that's going to be very successful, that ploy. But so thank you for asking. I think it was AT who asked. He's doing fine, and it has successfully gotten him to start eating breakfast again. I heard him making oatmeal this morning. So
that's good. Oatmeal. Breakfast of champions.
So
all right.
We're lucky that he made it till 6 weeks before turning 50 without having to start blood pressure medicine, because by the time his dad was this age, his dad had already had 2 heart attacks and a quadruple bypass. So he's doing much better than he could be. So we are pleased.
That's excellent. And I can hear the geese in the distance that are going to attack very soon, and they will drown me out. That's how many geese are racing away from all of the storms right now.
And that's why you need people like Andrew.
That's That's why we have our neighbors. Dinner.
Reduce the goose population.
Yep. Yep.
So.
All right. Well, have a great holiday, everyone. Take care of yourself and have a good time with your families, whatever it is you're doing. And we'll see you in 2017.
And as we finish streaming, I'm gonna type in on the chat room what the funny Christmas gift is. So
excellent. All right. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, all fabulous people.